probably will be for the rest of this vlog. I almost completely forgot about the 10,000 doors, 1,000 doors. I think it's 10,000 doors, but Emma's video just says 1,000. She's missing a 0. But the 10,000, 1,000 doors, whatever it is, Readathon, run by, I don't know, a bunch of people. Their videos will be down below. But I'm kind of really excited for this because it sounds really fun. It's like a choose your own adventure thing, but I almost forgot about it. But I happened to see Emma's video. And I've watched all 3 of the prompt 1 videos, and I'm gonna go with Emma's from Drinking by My Shelf for this, which the prompt is 5. So I'm not gonna screen record here. Sorry. You'll just hear me talking through my thought process because it's late and I wanna go to bed soon. But I'm gonna, you just reread the 5th season. No, I'm gonna scan through my want to reads, hoping to keep it short. I really wish I was on book 5 of Lady Trent, because I would just take that because that would be, you know, the 5th book. That would work, 5th book. Ignore the notes on my hand. But what I think I'm gonna do is see maybe if I can find something to do books under 300 pages. Hoping maybe I can find something that has like 5 words in the title, or maybe 5 letters in the title. Night of the Mannequins. I don't know if I'll be able to find that. It's pretty, that doesn't even fit. Or maybe a multiple of 5 pages. I have a bunch of these books I've gotten recently that are super short. I have one here called Stranger by Heather Mallett. It's 190 pages, so that's a multiple of 5 pages. It came out in a multiple of 5. Champ Beauty and yeah, I got Tram Car. The Haunting of Tram Car 015. I'm still in a spooky mood. That might be good. 15, that's a multiple of 5. That's only 144 pages. You know what? I think that's what I'm gonna go with. So this was October's tour ebook club pick. I hope you guys can hear me over the sound of the fish tank. Hopefully that'll be gone next week. Anyway, so The Haunting of Tram Car 15 is in an alternate Cairo where humans work and live alongside otherworldly beings. The Ministry of Alchemy, Enchantments, and Supernatural Entities handles the issues that can arise between the magical and the mundane. Senior Agent Hamid Al-Nassar shows his new partner, Agent Anzi, the ropes of the investigation when they are called to subdue a dangerous, possessed tram car. It starts off as a simple matter of exorcism, however, becomes more complicated as the origins of the demon inside are revealed. Alright, yeah, that's what we'll do. I will send that to my Kindle now, and I will get started on that tomorrow, because it's... Maybe I'll read some tonight. No, I'll get started on it tomorrow. Okay. Good morning. It is November 1st, so it's officially the start of the 1,000 Doors Readathon. Making myself some tea. And let me just check and see that Tram Car 15 or The Haunting of Tram Car 015, 015 uploaded to my Kindle. No. I'm gonna have to see what's up with that. Oh. I bet you it's sent to my other phone, my old phone. Okay, I'll have to figure that one out. But this morning, I'll make myself a cup of tea. I'm going to be working. I have an essay. Oops. Work on my frame. Make this a little better. I have an essay to write. And then when I get that written, then I will start the haunting of Tramcar 15 because I work best in the morning. So right now it's 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning. Feels like 9 in the morning, daylight savings and all that. But I will get this started. So I want to get this essay done because I work better in the mornings, and then I will get reading, and that's really all I have planned for today. I do have to go shopping later. Oh well. Alright, midday check-in. I'm about a third of the way through the haunting of Tramcar 015, 015, whatever, 50. It's really good so far. So this morning was kind of hectic. I was like, there's like a little library that's open for like 4 hours on Sunday around the corner from my house. And I was like, oh, I'll walk down there and I'll take you guys with me. What?
Oh.
Do you need something?
No.
Oh.
I live here. I don't walk.
You make me all self-conscious.
Alright, I'll leave fine.
No, you're fine. You can
I was barely home this space.
So I was gonna take you on the walk, but then it was raining. So I walked anyway, and I read on the way, and I had an umbrella, and I read as I went, but the library was closed anyway. So I'm wet and I'm cold and a little bit miserable, but the book is good. It's interesting. It's set in this place. It's set in Cairo, but in this world, in the like late 19th century, an Egyptian man found a way to like punch between the realms, and it opened the world up to magic and jinn in particular. And this then helped Egypt get out of like the oppression of the English and a bunch of other things, and it made Egypt into like this actual power in the world, which is really neat. So this is like sometime later. It hasn't given like a specific time, but it's sometime in the 20th century. And it's kind of a buddy cop thing where you have like the jaded old cop that's been in the system for a while, knows the ropes, and he's paired up with a rookie. And this case is that there's a tram, what's the, like the wire car things, that's being haunted. And they go to investigate, and it's not really a ghost because ghosts don't exist. It's just a form of jinn that is being mischievous, and they are tasked with getting rid of it, but have to find ways to do it cheaper. It's weirdly bureaucratic, but in a really interesting way. And the characters are definitely interesting. They're not the most complex, but they're neat. And I'm liking it. It's fun. I'm having fun with it. So it's the end of Sunday. November 1st is almost up. I think this goes for the full month, and there's only 5 prompts, so I maybe don't have to rush this as much as I am. But in any case, I'm about 75% of the way through the haunting on Tramcar 015. So I didn't quite finish it today, but I will probably finish it tomorrow. Definitely finish it Tuesday, and we'll see what the next prompt is after that. But yeah, that's it for me. Good night. It's Monday, so a work day. I am going to start reading more of The Haunting of Tramcar 15. I don't really know what I need to update you on because I updated you last night. I'm just trying to vlog, and don't you tell people about your life when you vlog? I had work this morning. I taught class virtually. I hate it. No one likes it, but I'm getting really good at it. So positives. And yeah, I have a call to make, and as soon as I finish that call, I'm gonna make myself lunch and I'm gonna read for a couple more hours. And tomorrow is election day. I hope everybody voted. By the time you see this, it's too late to do anything, but I hope everybody voted. And so I'll have the day off. So other than some schoolwork stuff that I have to work on, I will be able to spend the whole day reading. Also, One, this is probably really echoey in here, so I hope the sound isn't too crazy, but no fish tank, no loud burbling noise. So we're good. We're feeling good about that. It's also really windy today. I feel like this entire vlog is gonna have horrible sound quality, and I apologize. Finished The Haunting of Tram Car 015, 115, whatever, 15. It's really good. I haven't figured out my actual rating for it yet, but I'm definitely thinking at least 4 stars. You know, let's do that real quick. So that came out about what I thought, which is just about almost smack on the money, 4 stars, which is about what I figured. It's good. The characters were a little bit shallow, but the plot itself is really great. I know I talked a little bit about the world, but the whole story is set to the backdrop of what's a women's suffrage movement in Egypt. So, like, as they're doing all their investigations and stuff, they're running into a lot of women that are working towards this cause, and it's just really interesting. And I don't want to talk too much up more on it because it's really short, but it's a really cute story. And I really liked it. And I do want to read more of his works. I'm sorry, I should have looked this up. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But I really want to read more of his works. But let us listen. I'm going to put you back over here. To find out what our next book might be. 4 to 5 stars. That's the next door. Okay, that's what I'm gonna have to think on for a little bit. So the prompt for this one, it was a meme. It's a gif of a woman coming out of a door saying, "I'm back," in about that tone of voice. So I'm gonna have to think on this one. I have a book I really want to squeeze in for this readathon, but I'm not sure I can make it fit. But I gotta teach in about 10 minutes. Yeah, so I will let you know after class what I decided to read, because I have no idea right now. So that's fun. I just got out of class teaching. I love them. I love children. They stress me out. I'm going to read, if I can get it to load. It was loaded on my computer, and it's not loading on my phone. So I might have to read this on my computer. But it's Dead White Writer on the Floor. So this is a play about, from what I understand it, various fictional Native Americans and First People characters. I think First Peoples, Indigenous people, First Peoples. First Peoples characters from, like, pop culture suddenly materialize in the real world, and there's a dead white writer in the room, and they're trying to figure out what happened. It sounds fun. It sounds very interesting. I think some of the characters are like Tonto and Pocahontas, those kind of characters. So it's short, it's a play. I think I'm gonna go kind of slow with it though, because but it's not loading on my phone. I swear it's here. So I might just have to read it on my laptop, which is fine. I just prefer my phone. It's a little more portable, but I swear it's there. It's right there. Look at it. It's right there. I live across the street from a fire. Oh, this happens a lot. Anyway, I'm gonna get reading. I have 2 hours before my class tonight, so I'm gonna get reading. I'm on literally the character page, and I already know, like, I am not at all qualified to give any sort of in-depth analysis on this, but, so I will definitely have to look up some First Nation reviewers, some Indigenous people's reviews of this, because I already know that I am not in any way qualified to possibly have much of an opinion on this as far as representation goes. But I'm hoping I can at least judge how good it is. Hopefully. So I'm not even done with like the first act yet, but I think, or even the first scene, I don't think, but it's, I'm about 17, I'm at 17%. It's really amazing just how clearly, and it's jarring too, how clearly different each of these characters are, and they don't fit together. Like Pocahontas and Injun Joe and Billy Jack don't all fit together. And I'm only familiar, I mean, I'm vaguely familiar with Tonto. Like, I know who he is, and I've seen the new Lone Ranger movie, so I don't know how good of a judge that is. And I know of Injun Joe, but of all of these, Pocahontas is the one I'm most familiar with. The rest of them, like, I had to look up who they are, because I just straight up didn't know. And they're all so very different. Not just like they're different characters, but they all, I mean, Pocahontas is a Disney character, and then you have Tonto is a Western superhero sidekick, you know? So it's really interesting, and I think the author here, Drew Hayden Taylor, is doing a really good job of showing that, and showing how these tones conflict with each other. And I think it's really, really interesting. So I'm liking this. It's fun. It's kind of funny. It's a little bit funny. I'm kind of finding myself wishing I could see a performance of this right now. So I might see if there's an audiobook I can listen to after I read it. But for now, let's just read it. So I finished The Dead White Rider on the floor in the room. What was it? Dead White Rider on the floor. I finished it. Yeah, like I expected, like I said at the beginning, I'm gonna need some time to like process it and think through it. I'm gonna look in a minute to see if maybe I can find some own voices reviews. Maybe even see if I can find a performance of it, because the second act is really, it is confusing. And I don't want to say why, because it feels like a spoiler to say why, but second act was a little confusing. I get what happened. I just did not get the characters in that moment, so that's something I need to, you know, I think seeing a performance of it would help, and obviously it's a play. So what I'm gonna do now is finish watching Make With Books video, see what the prompt is, what the thing is to lead to the next prompt. If it's rating again, then I'll figure it out tomorrow, but if it's not rating, I can sit here and figure out a book to read that I will start tomorrow, and tonight I'm gonna spend some time digesting and figuring out what my rating for Dead White Rider on the Floor should be. So let me watch this real quick. I don't know how people vlog regularly. Do they just have tripods all over their house? I don't get it. Anyway, I'm gonna sit here and do some dishes because I didn't do them last night after dinner because I'm terrible. Anyway, so I'm gonna do dishes and let you know about what's going on. This is probably a terrible idea. You can't hear me when the water's running. So I did watch last night a couple of videos about reviews for Dead White Rider on the Floor. I don't know that any of them I watched or read were Own Voices reviews, so in terms of helping me figure out whether or not the representation was good, I don't think it really helped me with that at all. But it did help me understand the second half a little better, the second act a little better, which is good, because that was one thing I was struggling with, was understanding what happened there and like what the purpose was. And I think the whole thing was like this. The whole play was just about First Nations peoples fulfill certain roles, right? So like in the actual original stories, obviously there are these stereotypes and they're not really accurate portrayals of what it means to be First Nations. However, in the second act, and I don't want to give too much away, it's showing that that's still the case, even with modern First Nations people. So, I liked that. I liked the setting. I think it was a really clever use of the setting. I think the characters were all rather cleverly done. I think my main complaint was just the story. Reading it didn't quite work. And that's unfortunate because I do think that if I were to watch a performance of it, it would be really impactful. But obviously, that's not a thing I could do. I tried to find a video performance. I tried to find a video performance of it and could not. I found a lot of third acts plays, like third acts finishing the story or whatever, which I don't. I mean, I didn't love the ending of it, but I also don't think it needed a third act. I just think the ending could have been clarified a little better. Or again, I think it's something that if I'd seen it performed, it would have been, you know, a little more clear what was happening. That said, I ended up giving it 3.75 stars. So, you know, a good rating, a really good rating, honestly. And then I don't know how much of that clip from last night I'm going to keep in because it was a lot of hemming and hawing, and given that I wasn't screen recording, it's kind of boring, I'm sure. But the next book I'm reading, the prompt was Marvel, something that makes you think of Marvel as in the superheroes, not as in the word Marvel. And after much deliberation last night, I decided to interpret that as really a graphic novel, because, you know, Marvel was comics, graphic novel, visual, picture-based storytelling, so I figured that's what I would go with. And as such, my library through Libby, I could get Stargazing by Stargazing by Jen Wang, which is, I don't really remember what it's about. I added it after I read The Prince and the Dressmaker because I was like, I really like the storytelling. I want to hear more from her. And it was one that appealed to me, but I honestly do not remember what it was about. I think it's about two young girls who are both immigrants to a small community or something, and end up becoming friends, but I'm not completely certain on that. But that is what I will get started after I'm done with dishes here. I'm going to crawl back in bed because I have the day off. And I will read that, and when I finish it, I don't know, I have a plan. I want to have a bath tonight, this afternoon. So we'll see if I start the next book today or if I wait till tomorrow to start the next book, because I don't know, I think I thought this was a week-long readathon or something, because I really am just like making myself truck through this, but if I can finish these in the week, I can have this video up next week, which is good because I don't have anything planned for next week. So, but I also, I need to do some editing because the podcast episode needs to go up Thursday. So we'll see. This art is like absolutely adorable. I can't read these. Look at how good that looks. finished Stargazing. Didn't take long, like I expected. It was super cute. So I was a little bit off on what it's about. It's about, I think I got the immigrant thing from the fact that there's like a new girl in school, and I just kind of made assumptions. But it is about this young girl. Her and her mother, her single mother, are struggling financially, and so this other family in town opens up their like guest room, or not guest room. They have like a guest apartment, you know. They rent out to them for real cheap, and this family also has a daughter, and so the two daughters start to become friends, and it's just about their friendship, and it was really, really, really sweet. It was a little bit sad at points, and like the big like through line, I guess the big theme about it is like friendship jealousy, which is something I experienced a lot. So like when I was in middle school, I had two best friends, and it was like the three of us, and it was like very, you know, when your best friends are closer with each other than they are with you. And so, like, it's a feeling I've experienced. So it was really sweet. It's definitely a middle grade. I liked it. I mean, this, Jen Wang also did The Prince and the Dressmaker, and I actually think I kind of like this one more. It's a little bit quieter. It's a less exciting story, but I also thought it was more impactful, more meaningful. So overall, like, I gave it a 4.25 stars. So, and that's on my new system. Honestly, on the old system, I might have given it, like, before I had a system, it would probably be a 5-star read, but now I'm trying to get, you know, better at actually rating things. So now let's figure out what my next prompt is. Let's figure out what my next prompt is. So I knew it was about my attitude towards the main character, and the options are like, kind of like, dislike, and DNF. I think I'm gonna go with kinda. There's two main characters, and I feel like I liked the story they went on. I thought they were well-written characters. But whatever, like, I don't know. And it's hard to be like, you know what, I liked the characters. Yes, this is a solid yes. Alright, and we're back to Emma with Drinking by My Shelf. Next prompt is up. Okay. The prompt for this is up. The question is, can I stretch this? Can I stretch this to fit what I want to read? So the book I've been wanting to read is Arcadia by Tram. This is a play that my partner's grandfather wants us to read. He's convinced that Tom Stoppard is going to be like one of those names that are read in English classes. He's going to become... Good enough. This is terrible framing. But, yeah, so my partner's grandfather is just convinced that Tom Stoppard is going to be a huge name in playwright history. So I'm trying to think of the way to phrase this so that it can get up. So I know what I'm thinking here, which is that, like, Tom Stoppard is on the up and up or whatever, but, like, he's already there. But, like, I guess that's kind of the thought I'm going with for why this fits up, because I really want to read this. So I was thinking of reading one every day. So I can put this aside and read this tomorrow. Or I can read it today. I think I'll just read it today. I mean, there's really no reason it's not, and if I don't finish it today, I can read it tomorrow. I'm actually not entirely sure what this is about. It doesn't tell me anything. I don't actually know what this is about. It's about, okay, let me just read this for you. Arcadia takes us back and forth between the 19th and 20th centuries, ranging over the nature of truth and time, the difference between classical and romantic temperaments, and disruptive influence of sex on our choices in life. Focusing on the mysteries, romantic, scientific, literary, and engage the minds and hearts of characters whose passions and lives intersect across scientific planes and centuries. It is, quote, Stoppard's richest comedy to date. It's like a dream of levitation. You're instantly aloft, soaring, banking, doing loop-de-loops, and then when you think you're about to plummet to earth, swooping into a gentle touchdown of not easily described sweetness and sorrow. Exhilarating. From Vincent Canby at the New York Times. So it's a comedy that's, I don't know, I guess this is just about Tom Stoppard. Oh! Tom Stoppard wrote Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead. I knew that. I should have known that. Duh. So what I think I'm gonna do for this, I'm gonna do some audio editing right now because I need to get that done before Thursday. So I'm gonna get the podcast edited, and then I'm gonna draw myself a nice bath, and I'm gonna sit down and read at least some of this. I might not get all the way through it, but that's my plan for today. Terribly pretty, but it's got some, we've got meatloaves and then mashed potatoes and parsnips for dinner. Okay, so Arcadia so far. I still plan on finishing it tonight, especially because I'll probably stay up late because of election, but I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. Actually almost exactly 2/3 of the way through it. It is something. I don't know why I read 2 plays for this, because like I feel very similarly that a lot of it's going over my head and that this would be much better to see performed. It's interesting, Tom Stoppard does like really long stage direction. Some of it is useful, some of it not so much. I really liked one of the ones is somebody tells somebody, hey, hold on, and then the stage direction is so-and-so holds on. So it is very witty, it's very funny. And it takes place between 2 different time points. One in the early 19th century, so like 1809, I think. And then the other one is modern times, whatever that means. It doesn't mean 1990, whatever this was published, or doesn't mean now. That's always unclear. But, and the plot in the modern day is like trying to figure out what happened in the 19th century. And it's really funny. It's really cute and amusing, and it's about like the passage of time and how we can never really know what happened in the past, and that our assumptions about what happened in the past color the evidence we do find. So that's neat, but like some of this is definitely going over my head. This is feeling like I'm reading this for a 9th grade paper, and I'm going to need to finish reading this and then go on. I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the site. It starts with an S. Anyway, I'm gonna have to go online and like look up what this means. Which isn't too bad. That tends to happen with some deep stuff, but it's definitely funny. I'm getting a kick out of it, so we'll see. About 30 pages left to go, so we'll see. Anyway, let's talk about Arcadia while I make breakfast. Yeah, so it was good. It was funny. I won't deny that. It was funny. Beyond that, though, I don't know. The characters were definitely flawed, but interesting. And the story overall was interesting. I don't know how much I updated you all when I actually figured out what it's about, but it's 2 timelines. One in the early 19th century, one a little bit later, and the later timeline is trying to figure out the facts of what happened in the earlier timeline based on the little bits and pieces of information that they had. That part I thought was interesting. The actual plot I thought was interesting and I liked. Where I didn't like was some of the themes, and I checked, so like I said I was gonna, after I finished it, read some Spark Notes about it to kind of get an idea of what I had read, although it definitely came together a lot more in the end, so I helped. But one of the things, symbols, themes that it had that I thought maybe was my imagination, because I have a bit of a sensitivity to this, was about love and sex being a distraction from knowledge. I thought I had seen that kind of theme in there, but I was like, surely surely that's not actually there, and I'm just, you know, making a mountain out of a molehill, finding symbols where there aren't any, that kind of thing. But then I looked it up, and it was literally the first theme listed on SparkNotes. So that I don't love. The other theme, which was about like time and the loss of knowledge over time, and then like theme of like regaining knowledge, that one I thought was more interesting, which is that like one, it kind of, well, I kind of liked it. It goes into the whole there's never actually anything new ideas, which are, you know, something. Which is not necessarily a thing I agree with, but the idea was that like somebody has probably found this before you, they just didn't have the technology to fully establish it, or they didn't have the means to record it, or, you know, that idea. I also think there's kind of an unintentional theme of women in science and math getting ignored, which I liked. So there was a lot of little things there I liked. Overall, I gave it a 3.75, which is still really good. I just didn't care for the theming, which is personal to me. So let's watch this clip and find out what I'm going to be reading next. Prompt 4.
So what I want to know next is if you like the setting of this book.
So this one is if I like the setting, and I actually loved it. So the setting of this is in this little cottage, not cottage, it's in a house. So the setting was this house, and it's really interesting because it's the same house both time periods, because like the people that are trying to research, the people in the past were coming to this house to do that research. And the set stays the same, and it's very specifically stays the same, and there's like one desk, and the desk throughout the play gets more items in it, and like it purposely says it's like anything that's anachronistic should be left there. The characters should act as if they can't see it because it's not there, and therefore the audience should also assume this is invisible, it's not really there. Like the example he uses is if like you took a coffee mug, which I should make myself some tea. Is, you know, if there's been a coffee mug sat down on the table because somebody was having tea, it should stay there for the past, even though this is definitely not something they would have in 1809, which is fascinating. So I think it was very clever use of setting, which I find in a lot of plays, because, you know, you have to. It was the same thing in Dead White Writer on the Room, like on the floor. Like the setting there was less impactful, it was less of a character, and the setting was very much a character in the story itself. But I still find that like authors tend to really, playwrights tend to very much utilize their setting because they have to. It has to be very intentional. You're not going to make somebody build a set and build 3 different sets if they don't need to. So this I thought was very clever. So, prompt 5, yes, I like the setting. It's funny, they assume all of these things translate to loving the books, like as if I hated the character, I couldn't love a book. But also everything's been 4 stars. It's been 3.5 till 4.25, I think has been the range. So I really have been loving the books so far. So this meme is Paula Abdul, like about to cry, saying sometimes you wonder if there really is a God. And now Meg is recommending go with like a sad book because she's very sad in The Gift. Okay. So Paula Abdul, I'm kind of feeling. I kind of wish I hadn't read already The Color Purple because I feel like this would be perfect for this. only good thing that happened yesterday was I got my latest 65 box, so I have lots of new teas to try. I think I'm gonna go with this one. You know what, I haven't done an actual tea review in a while, so I will do that. Check the link. It'll be unlisted, but the link will be here. I'll have a link in the description for the entire playlist. But this is Churchill's Fine Tea, which is last year. My advent calendar was from them, so I have a bunch of their teas. And this is Spiced Chai Fruit Mate. You know what, I'm just gonna try to go for the Paula Abdul vibe. Forget the God thing, forget the sad book thing. Paula Abdul. What makes me feel Paula Abdul? That's gonna be a mistake. I'm gonna get something crazy. So I've picked out a few. By a few, I have like 10. That are all about like women. And I'm thinking I'm gonna try to find maybe a middle-aged woman. And maybe something about like romance. I don't know, that feels like Paula Abdul vibes, right? We're gonna go with Upright Women Wanted because that was the one that was available as an audiobook. I said I wanted an audiobook. So this is Upright Women Wanted by Sarah Gailey. It's like a Midwest fantasy thing. There's something about a lot of books being banned, and this woman, these librarians are women that go around with these books that aren't allowed and spreading forbidden knowledge or something like that. You know what's really gay? That's really all I know. So we're gonna give that a shot. I'm gonna remake my toast because I forgot about it. Well, my lunch is baking in the microwave. I finished Upright Women Wanted. What an absolutely mediocre way to end this readathon. So, things I liked about Upright Women Wanted. I think the setting was really cleverly used. I don't think I like a Western setting, but I think it was appropriate for kind of the messages and stuff that were being said. Speaking of which, I really liked the message, which was like, one, fight against the things that are trying to change who you are, and two, it's okay to do things that are scary or hard or maybe you don't necessarily agree with if you're doing them for the right reasons. That sounded really bad when I worded it that way. The inclusion also, like there is multiple possibly homosexual, maybe pansexual, maybe bisexual, non-straight characters, and at least one non-binary character. And I think it's really, really well done how they explore that, how they explore internalized homophobia or being in the closet. There was definitely some stuff there about the whole, hey, when we go into town, I'm a woman, remember? That hurt. It hurt to read. That said, I think the message was a little overly ham-fisted. I think like at the end it basically came out and was like, here's the moral of the story, like some sort of Aesop fable. I think the characters were rather one-dimensional. I mean, it was very short, so how much can you do in that time? But they felt very one-dimensional and it didn't really feel like any of them changed except for kind of the main character. And the setting and like world building needed a lot more work. Making weird noises. The world building needed a lot more work in my opinion. I think it was kind of lackluster and I wanted more. Again, that's short fiction, that tends to be a problem, but I just wanted a little bit more there. And then finally, just the ending. The ending was really cheesy and kind of hokey. That said, I think I would love this as like a children's movie. If they did like a little animated children's movie, like hour-and-a-half long movie of this story, super cute. Would be so into that. So that's where I'm feeling. And let us, turn you. Let's pull this video up and see what we're supposed to do at the end. Feels like there's an awful lot of this video left. Is it just gonna tell me to start over? Because I was already thinking about that. So just like doing this once a month. Oh, why are there two? Click here if you liked your final book. Click here if you didn't. But why isn't there not a middle of the road option? Oops. Why is there not a middle option? Did I like it or didn't I? I think I would like it in another context. I think after reading these amazing 4+ star books to just get a 3-star, I'm gonna go with I didn't.
Hey everyone! Hey everyone! Hey everyone! Congratulations on finishing the first ever 1,000 Doors Readathon.
Alright, so let's wrap up this vlog. For the 1,000 Doors Readathon, I read 5 books in 4 days somehow. Actually, it might have been 5 days. Nope, 4 days. The first one, yeah, it's the 4th it's starting. It's the first one for the prompt 5. I read The Haunting of Tram 015. This was good. I gave it 4 stars in the end. And yeah, it was good. I think the setting was really cool and I want to explore that setting more. I really liked the buddy cop vibe. It was really fun. I really could have spent like twice as many pages in this world. Really enjoyed it. Next, for the prompt, I'm back. I read Dead White Writer on the Floor. Stretching this prompt because it's about First Nations or Native American or Indigenous peoples from fiction coming back. Not really coming back from anything, but it works. And I ended up giving this one a 3.75. I think a lot of this went over my head, partially from lack of knowledge on the subject matter, partially from like, it's very symbolic and very metaphorical and just things I didn't get until I like read some reviews and watched some stuff on it. But I liked it overall. I liked the themes, as depressing as those themes were, and there was some fun wit and humor to it that I enjoyed. Next, the prompt was Marvel. Read something that reminds me of Marvel, the comic company and superhero movie conglomeration. And I went with Stargazing here because it's a graphic novel, and graphic novels and comics are similar. And I ended up giving this one a 4.25. I thought it was very sweet. I think that's really a good way to put it. It was just very sweet. It was very relatable. Definitely touched on some experiences I felt as a child. So I really enjoyed it. The next prompt was Up, and I read Arcadia by Tom Stoppard. This is the only physical book I read this week, and I went with it because, according to my partner's grandfather, Tom Stoppard is going to be one of the biggest names in theater someday or something like that. So upward fame, I don't know. And this was another one that I felt a little bit went over my head, but a lot less went over my head. So I also gave this 3.75. Same kind of struggles with reading a play. You miss out on some of it, although Tom Stoppard gives very detailed notes, so I didn't feel like I missed out on that much. Very humorous, very witty, very clever. But I didn't really care for the themes of the play. So definitely worth a read, especially if it's something you've seen the play and enjoyed the play. I would definitely recommend reading it because the stage directions in it honestly hold so much wit, extra wit, so something to read. And the final prompt, it was Paula Abdul crying. And so I went with something that made me think kind of Paula Abdul vibes. Man, and I thought Up was a stretch. Anyway, and I read Upward Women wanted, so I kind of went with this because middle-aged women and Paula Abdul, you know what, whatever. This one ended up being a 3-star. You know, that's what I was punished for poorly interpreting the prompt. Anyway, this was a 3-star. I think the themes in this one were good, but were very heavy-handed. I think I wanted a lot more from both the world and the characters, so it was just a little lackluster for me, but like, you know, 3 stars is still really good. And that's it. I had a lot of fun with this, and I really hope they do it again, because honestly, I kind of want to go back and start over and just do a whole nother path this time. So, that's where I'm at. Okay, bye.